Hi guys, today I want to do a fall inspired piece or two or even maybe three because I'm just going to do one little slab here and then I'm going to cut it in half and I'm going to do variations from that same slab, so we'll get a little bit of a difference in each piece that we make. So here I've got some black Premo. You don't have to use Premo, any black clay will work. I've rolled this out onto a number 4 thickness on my Atlas 150, 0 being the thickest setting. So that's for the slab when I get to it. I've got some more black clay rolled out um, for backing and other things that we're going to need it for with the pieces. And again, these are rolled onto a 4, but they may need adjusting, but you'll see why as we go along. So just some more black clay rolled out. I've got 3 or 4 bits there. I might need to roll out more. Don't know yet. See how we go along. And then I've got some more clay rolled out here, and I've got a strip of pearl purple, Premo pearl purple, and a strip of Premo bronze. About one strip from a 2-ounce block, approximately. All right, so let's take this piece first. I'm going to move this out of the way. And I've also got some little acrylic stamps here. I'm not sure which ones I'm going to use that yet, but they're readily available on Amazon. I might even have some listed in my Amazon storefront. And this is a flower one. And I meant to grab something else and I didn't get it. It's just reminded me. I just wanted to use this one stamp that I've got, if I can find it. There we go. And it's a stamp of a stamp. So let's just say it was this one. Acrylic stamp. I just pressed it into the clay, baked it like so. For 2 reasons. One, because it's pretty durable. And 2, it changes whether it's embossed or debossed or whichever way around it went, and I wanted it this way, so if that makes sense. So there's that little stamp as well, but you can use anything like that will work. All right. Embossing powders, and I'm going to be using gold. And wait, am I using gold or am I using copper? I think I'm just going to go with the gold actually, so forget the copper. I'm just going to go with the gold embossing powder. And then I've got more embossing powders that I don't need actually. I think they were out from a different project and I've kind of lumped them in with this one by mistake. And then some alcohol inks, fall colours. So I've got Picassio Ruby, Picassio Marigold, Picassio Magenta. The Picassio inks are listed in my Amazon storefront. Don't need that. Let's throw in some sunset as well. So oranges and reds and yellows, that kind of thing. Do we really need another red? What the heck? Some poppy there, poppy red. And then I've also got this Cernit apricot, which is an orangey colour. Again, you don't have to use all these colours, just reds, oranges, yellows. But I do want to throw some gold in as well. And this is the kind that's got the mica powders in it, so you need to give it a good shake. That's a Cernit ink, but again, you can use any metallic inks. And then I've got some glitter. These are listed in my Amazon and they're actually holographic glitter, so they kind of shift colour. And I'm using the coffee and the gold. So all fall colours. And then I've got some gold leaf and copper leaf to use as we go along. All right, I'm just going to shift those over here, make a little bit of room. And we'll start with this first. And the first thing I'm going to do is just grab a piece of that gold leaf that I've got over there and just boop it on top of the clay like that. Boop. I'm trying to keep really tidy. I've just tidied my studio, guys. It was a mess, a real mess. So I'm just coating this with this copper leaf, a gold leaf. My square wasn't as big as the square of gold leaf, but oh well. I'm just going to tear this off as best as I can. And just pop it over there for now. Just make sure it's burnished on there pretty good. And then while I've got a little bit of that gold left, I'm going to stick it on this purple strip as well. So that can go on there like so. Doesn't matter if you don't cover the whole thing. But there we go. Make sure that's on there pretty nice. Okay, I'm just going to get rid of this little bit here, just to square it off a bit. So there's that. And then on the bronze piece, I'm going to grab some copper, I think. Let's change up the colour a little bit. You could do any colours you wanted, just any fall colours, or if you don't want to do a fall look, obviously you can use any colour you want to. All right, so I've covered all the clay with the foil that we need. I'm just going to put this to one side for now, and I think I'm just going to slap a little bit more on that because it does look a little bit gappy, doesn't it? I should have probably used a fuller sheet, but oh well. Let me just grab another piece, guys, just to fill in some of those bigger gaps. That'll do. That'll do. So I'm going to put that over there, get that off there, and we're left with this now. So I'm just going to grab my, oh, before I forget, you are going to need some liquid clay, translucent liquid clay. I'm using Kato, but you could use Sculpey, and a little spritz of isopropyl alcohol, which I've put in a spray bottle, otherwise known as rubbing alcohol. So I'm just going to give it a little spritz first. It just helps the alcohol ink to run a bit better. And I'm just going to put these inks on in no particular order, just splooge them around like this. Boop, 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 boop. It's random. It may get a little messy. I'm just throwing it all over like that. No rhyme or reason. And then let's go with, let's put a little bit of the ruby on. I think the reds are pretty similar, really. And you can go on top of the other colours, like so. And then, what's this one? This is the marigold. So, a yellowish colour. You're not going to see the yellow that much, but it does add a little bit of brightness, I find. And then, what have we got left? The apricot. Again, you don't have to use all these colours. You could just stick to 2 or 3 or 4. I'm just going a bit wild with the colours. And then I always add the gold because it's a mixative, which means it's got the gold mica powders in it, so it sinks. So you want that to be on top. Always make sure you shake it, and if you drop it on, you can see it kind of bloom into the rest of the ink. It kind of goes psh, psh, like that. Throw some of that on. This is an inky mess, and it's going to take quite a while to dry, I would think. Probably a good 25-30 minutes because it is pretty saturated. So I'm just going to leave it there. I'm going to let it dry. I'm going to be a good girl and be patient. Maybe towards the last 5 minutes, I'll just give it a quick going over with an air gun, a heat gun, but on a very low setting, a very cool setting, because you don't want to cook the clay. All right, so I'm going to leave that there, let it do its thing, and you can see it's kind of fizzling away and making all this inky goodness with that gold metallic on top. All right, I'll leave that to dry and I'll be back. Okay, this is completely dry now, and a little bit fell off when I picked it up, but no big deal. And before I go any further, I did forget to mention that you're going to need this Versamark watermark stamp pad. It's just a clear ink pad. This is listed in my Amazon, and I might be using a distress pen, but I've not fully decided yet. We'll see how we go. All right, so this is dry. I've got my other piece of black clay here. This is rolled onto a number 4, as was this. And I'm just going to take this and tear it Oh, I'm doing it wrong, guys. I forgot a step. Ignore that bit. You're going to get the glitter first. Derp. You're going to get the glitter, and I'm just going to liberally throw it on there like so. And the gold. And I've decided that I'm going to add a little bit of green as well. So I've grabbed some green from that same kit of glitters that it comes in as a whole set of different colours. Alright, so I'm just going to throw in some green as well. And I'm just going to quite simply rub it into the clay. Try and burnish it in there. Like so. So the colours are getting mixed up a bit, but I kind of like that. And you just got that little hint of green popping here and there. So I'm just rubbing it all over. Might be a little bit of excess, but this is extra fine clay, so it does embed into the clay. This is fine glitter, should I say, and it does embed into the clay quite well. Alright, so when you've done that, I'm just going to give it another quick rub just to make sure I've got it nicely stuck to that clay, and just to drag any of the excess off. And I'm just tipping it off, throwing it in the trash can. Alright, this is where you're going to need your liquid clay. I hope I mentioned that already. I probably did or did not. Who knows? I can't remember. And I'm just going to drizzle some of that over there. It's not going to affect the glitter any because it is translucent. But you need that because obviously we're going to stick these pieces on there. So let me just get this off this tile so it stops sliding around. Off this paper, I mean. What is wrong with me today? I keep getting my words wrong and everything. Ah, dear. Alright, so I'm just smearing that over like so. Making sure I've got everywhere with it. And then we tear the pieces. Now you can do little pieces, bigger pieces, just random tears. But I want to leave a little bit of a gap between each one because I want some of that glitter to show through. It's not going to be a prominent sparkle of glitter, but just a little hint of it here and there. So I'm just tearing pieces off and placing them here, there and everywhere like so. And with that liquid clay underneath as well, you can easily slide it around like that. So I'm just going to keep going with this. There might be some, well, there's going to be some left over because I'm not going to use all of this. I'm going to keep some aside so we can do a little bit of a variation. So I'm just going to keep doing that. I'll do the rest off camera and I'll be back. Right, so I've finished laying those pieces on there, but I've left this much left over. I took little over a half of the slab, and that's going to be for something else. Okay, so now we've done that, I'm just going to get some paper and just give it a very light burnish. I'm not bothered about it being fully flush to the clay, but just to make sure it's nicely stuck on there. And also just to smooth out any fingerprints or anything that might be on there, just smooth it out. But I'm not getting it completely flush to the clay because we want to see some of that glitter showing through. Alright, so there's going to be gaps. Like this. Alright, so that's one slab. I'm just going to move it to one side and I'm going to work. So this is what you've got, guys. Okay, and that translucent clay that you can see, liquid clay that you can see, will be clear. You won't see it. Alright, so that's that first one. And then this one, what's left over of that, I'm going to bring that over alongside the purple clay that I did and the bronze clay that I did with the gold and the copper leaf on there. So this is rolled onto a 4. I think this was rolled onto 4, but if not, no, it was rolled onto a 3. So I'm taking it down to a 4, and the same with this. And also it will give a little bit of a crackle, and you could also just use your fingers just to separate it out a little bit. Okay, so I've got to try and make a little bit of room. I'm just quite simply going to take, I need to just budge it up a little bit and start off with a straight edge on each piece as well. So let me just straighten this off. And that's already straight. So all I'm going to do is take little strips like this and just line them up together. And it's just a little variation to give you some variation. You don't have to do everything the same. With the slab, you can change it up a little bit. Let me just get rid of this because it's a little long. Just tidy it up a little bit. Alright, so you're just going to do that and then nudge them up against each other. And just keep stacking them together like this. Very easy. A little tricky sometimes because it doesn't want to stick. Let me bring this down so you can actually see. So another little piece of this. I mean, you could even vary the thicknesses. You don't have to do them completely equal. I don't. You could alternate the colours differently. You could add another colour in there if you wanted to. It's all about just, you know, utilising what you've got and changing things up a little bit. Whoops. Do that one again. Alright, so I'm just going to keep doing that until I've used all this up. I'm just going to keep stacking them again next to each other like that. So I finished doing that and I'm just going to tidy up the edges. And I might even use those scraps to do something. Well, I will at some point. Not sure what, but they're sparkly and pretty, so they'll be nice as scraps for something down the road. Alright, so now you've got this other little veneer. Very simple, but it's just a variation of that because you've used from the same slab, and you get where I'm going. You can just vary things. So I'm just going to get a piece of paper and give this a burnish just to make sure it sticks together before I lift it. Like that. And then I'm going to grab some more black clay, which I already rolled out. And this is rolled onto, I put it all the way over here for some reason. This is also rolled onto a 3, I think, or no, this is a 4. Yeah, this is a 4. So let me just make sure that that actually matches fairly well. That's just about right. And it's got a little bit of glitter and stuff on it now, which I really didn't want to happen. But when you're working with glitter and all that, it tends to happen. So I'm just going to quickly roll it out again. Although, alright, so let me just clean my blade a little bit. Let me grab a wipe. I'm running low on wipes by the looks of it. Okay, so I'm just going to clean my blade off with a wipe. I'm just going to straighten this off. So I've got a nice clean straight line. And I'm going to butt it up to this. Or we could even do it this way. I don't suppose it makes a difference. It's square, isn't it? Derp. It's a little awkward with the camera being in the way, but I'm trying. So just butt it up as best you can, like that. Let's just go with this. And then because we've got, that's a lot of this compared to the black. So what we could do is just separate that from that and add a little bit more black here. So it's separated with black, and let's just move that bit out of the way and then put this bit back. Okay, give it, get some clean paper, that's a bit grubby now. Give it a good burnish. Make sure it's joined together well. And we'll get rid of this extra black because we can use that. Put it in my black pile. So that's another way of doing something. And we're not going to use all of that. I know we're not, so we'll see how much of that is going to get incorporated. But anyway, I've done that, and then I've got this as well. But I'm going to need some more black clay for this one now as well. So this was rolled onto a 4 with a 4 on top, so this is probably going to have to be a little bit thicker. So I'm going to roll this to a number 2. This is what I was saying to you earlier, that you might need to adjust. Oh, that's not stuck together very well, has it? Let me just grab some more clay because we need to stick that on something. So I'm just taking another piece of black clay and rolling that onto a 4. I'm all fingers and thumbs, guys. And let me just give this another burnish just to make sure it's stuck together. Before I lift it. Let's try again with this. It's still not stuck together there. Oops. Oops! Right. I gave up with that one. I'm just going to go like this. All right. Get rid of the excess black. I'm just going to keep it like that, I think, guys. It's just easier. But you could have had it, separated with the black if you wanted to. So I'm just going to pop that on there. Get this bit and put that there. She says. Right, so that's on there good now, hopefully. I'm just getting rid of the excess black. Oh my goodness me, everything's sticking to itself and all sorts. I'm just getting rid of the excess black, guys. I get so flustered, and I think the reason being is because I have got such a small area to work with. And I get a little bit crowded. But anyway. Just don't want to get this black clay dirtier than it already is, so I'm just separating it. Alright, so we've got 2 of those now then, but that's fine. Right then, so I'm going to get this and straighten this up, give this a nice straight edge, and this a nice straight edge. And I've adjusted this clay so it meets well with this clay, so it's not too high or too low in comparison. Okay, so it's just the same thing. Give it a good burnish just to make sure it's stuck. Like that. And I'm going to I'm going to leave quite a bit more black for this one. Obviously we're not going to need all of this. So I've got a little bit left and I can just add some more black to that or whatever, but I'm just going to do the one, guys, instead of two like the other one. And then I just need to roll out the rest of this black clay so I can put a backing on that one. So I rolled out some more black clay and I'm just going to pop that on there like so. And like I say, I've still got that other piece over there that I can use another time, but I'm just going to use this for now, guys. Okay, so very simple. It's just a little variation. Still beautiful colours, still very autumnal. But now what to do with what we've got. Let me just get some more paper and burnish this. Just to make sure it's nicely stuck down on that backing clay. Like so. That ink's still a little bit wet, look at that. Well, it might be actually it's probably the liquid clay, isn't it? Never mind. It's picking up some of the ink as well though. So I'm just going back over these just to make sure they're nicely stuck together. So there we go, we've got these that we can play around with. Now for this one, I'm going to grab some cutters. I've grabbed myself some cutters then, and all these are from Oh Joy Creations. I've just grabbed a few. Now this one's quite large, but I do like it, so I'm going to use that one, I think, and then hopefully this heart one can fit on there like that, so that's good. And then this one here, this one here actually. Now you can do it this way or you can do it that way, but I think I'm going to go this way with this one. Again, just a slight variation. All right, so before I cut them out, this one, with this butterfly one, actually I am going to cut that one out because I want to do something on that once it's baked. So I'm just going to take it off the paper so I've got something for it to stick to, and I'm just going to cut it out. Now, like I say, this is quite a large piece, but I think I might, no, I'm not going to dome it. I'm not going to dome it. I'm going to leave it as is. I quite like the bigger pieces anyway. Alright, so this is a nice butterfly shape. Like I say, these cutters from Oh Joy Creations, linked in the pinned comment and the description. And let's go like that here and cut that out. So I'm leaving these two as they are for now, and they're going to get baked like that. Okay. Excuse me. Let me just grab some paper. Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm just surrounded by so much stuff, guys. So let's just put these on the paper, and then I'll put those on a tile and then on a baking sheet to bake, and I bake them for an hour. All right, so that's the two that I'm just going to leave like that for now, and then we'll add to it once they're baked. But aren't they gorgeous? The colours are just so pretty. I really love it anyway. So there's that one, or those two. Now these two, I want to do something before they get baked. So again, this is just another little variation of what you can do. So I'm going to get this flower stamp that I told you about. Actually, I think I'm going to get this one. Yeah, I think I'm going to get this one. And you don't have to incorporate the whole stamp. You can just do a little bit like that. So I'm just going to get my acrylic block, and I'm just going to stamp directly onto it like so. Give it a good old push. or a decent impression. And these acrylic ones don't always give a great impression, but that one actually looks pretty nice. So I've done that on that one. This one, I'm going to do something else. I'm going to get this stamp that I told you about, the one that I made from a stamp from a stamp. And I'm going to roll some clay out on the thickest setting of the pasta machine, like so. I'm going to take my stamp of a stamp and just give it a little damp, and make sure you push down pretty well to get a decent impression, like so. Lift that up, grab my blade, give it a clean, and I just want to take like a skeleton, almost like a skeleton piece from that. I'm not cutting the whole flower, so it's kind of fragmented like that, guys. Before I do that, let me just see how I want to do this. I think I might go at an angle like that. Shall I? Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. So again, you can angle the cuts differently to give it a different variation of a look. There's still a little bit left. I can use that for something. All right, so I've gone and done that like that. And I'm going to get my fragmented flower. And I'm going to pop it there like so. And just a gentle press. So there's that. So that's got a raised flower on it. This one's got an impression of a flower. So, you know, I just like to play around with things like this, guys, just to get a little bit of a different look. You don't have to make identical things from the same slab. So I'm just going to cut this one out. All right, so you can't see much now, but you will when I've added the colour to it. And the same with this one, but that's the raised one. So we've got that one with the stripes and the raised stripes and a hair, two hairs, and a stamped image on there. And then the butterfly and the heart don't have anything on this bit yet, but they will when they've been baked. All right, so I'm going to go and bake all of these for an hour and I'll be back. Okay, these are out of the oven, baked. I've given them a quick sand. I'm still undecided what to do with these two, so I'm just going to put them to the side for a minute and just focus on these two. I'll do the butterfly first. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that acrylic flower. I was going to do a butterfly, the one that I showed you, but it's actually not the one I wanted to use, and I cannot find my other one. So I'm just going to go ahead and use this flower. But, you know, anything like this will do. I'm just going to pop it on an acrylic block, like so. Get this Versamark ink pad that I told you about, and just push it into the ink like so. And then obviously it's not going to be a complete flower on there, but I'm just going to take it over onto the butterfly, this part of the butterfly, a little bit, and just press down so it leaves its mark. And then I'm going to grab my gold embossing powder and just liberally sprinkle that on there. Do it on some paper so you can catch the excess when you shake it off, like so. I'm going to give it a blow just to remove any excess. So there's that one. That obviously needs to be heat set before we do anything else with it. I'll do that one in a minute. I'm just putting my embossing powder back in the little container. This one, I think I'm going to do something with embossing again, but I'm just not sure what to use, guys, because like I say, I cannot find that butterfly that I liked, and this one's a bit too big. And I don't feel like looking for it, and this one's going to be too big as well. So unfortunately, I cannot find it. So I'm just going to have to do this flower again then, because I can't be bothered to go and look for something else right now. All right, so same thing then. Oops. So these two are going to be very similar. I wanted to do something a little different. Oh, poo. If you do that, it wipes off really easily, so don't panic. But it doesn't want to stick on my block for some reason. So I'm just going to redo that, I think. Make sure it's stuck on there this time. Nope, it's not staying on. All right, well, I'm just going to wing it and do this. I think that looks okay. But I think instead of gold, I'm going to use some silver, although that's empty. So maybe I'm not going to do silver unless I've got any more. I don't, so I'm just going to grab some white, I think. Just want to, just so it looks a little bit different. So I've got this Wow embossing powder, the opaque bright white. So I'm just going to throw that on there. Not autumnal, I guess, but you know. And there's that one. So I'm just going to put that to one side. All right, so that's the embossing powder. So all you need to do now is grab a heat gun. It's going to be noisy when I do this, so I'll just show you quickly what you do. I use this heat gun, and I'm going to put it on setting number 6, and I'm just going to go over like this without touching the clay, and you'll see it change into its embossing goodness. All right, so just hold it over the piece like this and just keep moving it around, and you'll see it change. It kind of melts. Starting to turn. So there's that one. Now this one's gone a bit splodgy because I think it's because I didn't use the acrylic block and I pressed down too hard, but I actually quite like it, to be honest. So there's the butterfly and there's the heart one. Okay, so they're both embossed. Now this one, we've got that raised flower on it. I think I'm just going to get some gold metallic paint, give that a quick shake, and just put a little tiny bit on my finger. I don't want a great deal. If I can get it to come out. Might be blocked actually. I think it's clogged up. Hang on. Oh dear. Yeah, it was clogged. Clogged up. So a little tiny bit on my finger. Probably not even that. So I'm just going to wipe a little bit off on this paper. Don't want a great deal, and just wipe it over. So you're just hitting the raised part of the flower just to give it a little hint of something. Or you could have just rubbed some mica powder on it before you baked it, I guess. I might add a little bit more than that. It doesn't look very strong. So that's just a little gold hint on that one. I actually really like this. So there's that one. I might top it up with a bit more gold. This one is bugging me. I'm not sure what to do. I don't know whether to go around with an embossing pen and add embossing powder, or use this gold pen just to outline the flower. I think I'll go with the gold pen. And it's not open, sure I've got another one that's already open somewhere. Oh, there it is. Let me grab that one. Yeah, so you know, you just play around. You're going to get a little bit of a different look depending on what you do. And I know this tutorial wasn't exactly overcomplicated, but I think it's quite effective. So I've just got this gold pen, paint pen, and I've made sure it's flowing well. And I'm just going to highlight some of the edges, and probably not even all of it, guys, to be honest. So I'm just drawing around in the outline like this. Or you could have got an embossing pen, you know, and did the same thing with the embossing pen and then threw embossing powder on there. But, you know, this is a little bit different, another variation of what you could do. And I'm probably not gonna do the whole thing. I'm just rubbing the pen over this bit because that's the center of the flower. It's a bit tricky to see because it is so shiny, but I'm just going to fill in some of these little bits in on this petal here and here. So you just do what you want to do, just, you know, to highlight certain points of it. And that's that, guys, other than to resin them and dress them, which I'm not going to do that on camera today, but I think these would look really nice. Well, some of them, maybe not all of them, with like orangey coloured beads, you know, orange and red coloured beads. And I did a video a couple of weeks ago where I did a bead cluster that would sit here and then like a hoop to put your necklace through. So if you want to go and watch that, you can go and watch that. But that's all I'm going to do with that one. So there's all 4 pieces. All right, so next thing then is to resin them. Let's do these 2 first. I'll just do the one on camera, guys. You don't need to see me resin every piece. I'll do the butterfly and I'll do the rest off camera, and then I'll come back and show you the finished pieces. But aren't they gorgeous? I really, really like them. Simple technique, but really quite effective, and you could go crazy with different colours, different embossing powder colours, different stamps, you know, be creative. So actually I'm just going to do the heart. It's the smallest, so it's going to be quickest to do on camera. So I always just take my resin, this is UV resin, and boop a bit in the middle like that. And I'm using Let's Resin UV resin. It's listed in my Amazon. I found that to be the best. I've changed my mind a few times about resins, but my other favourite one that I used to use, they changed the formula and I didn't like it as much. So I swapped to this resin, and so far so good, and it cures really hard and it doesn't take long to cure. So this is my current favourite. It could change again, who knows. So obviously don't pour too much on because you don't want it to dribble over, but like with this one I didn't quite put enough on, but better to be safe than sorry. So I'm just going to boop a little bit more on there, and this blue stuff is just painter's tape that I've turned upside down so the pieces can stick to it. Alright guys, so there's that piece. I might actually add a little bit of gold to that flower because I'm not sure I like the starkness of the white on it, to be honest, but I'll see what it looks like when it's completely resined. Alright, so there's that one, and you just take it gradually to the edges and try not to go over. So there's that. Alright, and then before you cure it, I like to run a lighter over it just to make sure there's no air bubbles. So I'm going to grab my lighter, one of those long ones that you can get for lighting candles, and just go like this over it, like this. And that should remove any air bubbles. Alright, so I'm going to do the same on all the others. That's that one done, other than the back. And I think I might add a few little accents to this, but I'll think about it while I'm resining the others. I'll do these and add the back. Alright guys, they're finished, other than to do the backs. So I'm not going to show you the back, but you know, that's what it looks like from the front. And this one, I just resined around the flower. I didn't want the flower to be shiny like the rest of it. So if you're worried about this paint coming off, because it could scratch off, you could just put a little bit of matte varnish on that, and Cernit does a good one. You can get that from Blueberry Beads, linked in the pinned comment. So there's that one. Here's the butterfly, stunning. Again, I need to do the back and everything, but aren't they gorgeous? I love them. And then there's the round one. And what I did with this one, I just added a little bit of glitter up here. I just mixed it into the resin on just that part, just to give it another bit of extra shine. And the heart one, I added a little bit of glitter up there as well. And I just dropped on one of these little tiny charm things. Spacer beads, I think they are actually. And they come in, you know, a little thing like this, or different types of flowers. So I just dropped that on and it's resined on there. So there's that one. And then I couldn't find the butterfly that I wanted to do on this one, but I did find my piece that I did in my practice run, and that's the butterfly. And I just like kind of plonked that right in the middle of that there, and I did a little bit of that glitter, the coffee colour, as with this one and this one. So there you go guys, some nice fall inspired pieces. Hope you enjoyed that. Have a great weekend guys. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. Bye.